Hey there, are you bored? Of course you are. That's why you're on YouTube. Well, whatever you do, do not scroll past this video. Don't skip ahead. Don't close the tab. Don't go read social media while listening to me talk. Don't do any of that. And I'm not just saying this because it benefits me monetarily to make sure your precious eyeballs stay on my video throughout the entire runtime. No, I'm also saying that because new research suggests that if you are bored, if you think this video is boring and you want to skip ahead to the point or maybe go find some other better, more entertaining video, you're just going to end up more bored than you were before. Crazy, right? I know. Don't worry. I'm right there with you. This study attacks me personally, and I do not like it. But truly appreciating science means accepting that sometimes things are true, even when we desperately don't want them to be true. In fact, I wrote the script for this video while listening to a podcast about how and why our attention spans are shrinking and why multitasking is so bad. And as a fun addition to that, around the 12-minute mark, the expert on that podcast, Gloria Mark, talks about the importance of setting a natural break time if you want to switch tasks. And that is exactly the point when Indy started barking at something and I had to stop what I was doing to go see what was wrong. It was just the mail lady delivering a package. It was a new bike rack for my car. I have one, but it's like 10 years old and a bolt came loose and I was going to fix it. But then I was like, maybe I could get a better one. And, sorry, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, attention spans and boredom and stuff. Fast forward to boredom. How switching behavior on digital media makes people more bored is the new study in question published just last month in the Journal of Experimental Psychology General. In this paper, researchers first asked a few hundred people how they felt about skipping around within a video or switching videos when they're bored. This comprised studies 1 and 2, and they found that in general, people do tend to get bored and then think that if they switch around to a different video or fast forwarding ahead into a video, that will make them less bored. But the next few studies the researchers completed suggested that might not actually be true. In study 3, they asked 159 undergraduates to watch a single 10-minute video to relax and entertain themselves before they went on to complete an unrelated task. They then were given a selection of 5-minute videos they could switch between at their leisure. Again, telling them just entertain yourself. It's worth noting that the researchers randomized the order in which they got these different video conditions. Students reported that regardless of which condition they got first, they felt less bored when watching the single 10-minute long video compared to when they were able to switch between videos. Fun fact, that study was originally going to have 189 subjects, but 30 people were excluded for failing an attention check. Imagine being so inattentive you don't even qualify for a study on inattention. What absolute legends those students are. In study 4, researchers gathered a similar sized group of undergraduates, and this time they showed them just the first 10 minutes of a 50-minute film, a documentary, before again giving them an unrelated task to do. And then they came back and they were given another 50-minute documentary, but this time they said, go ahead and skip around in this video as much as you want, just watch for the next 10 minutes, enjoy yourself. Again, the students reported being more bored when they were allowed to skip around. In those studies, the researchers were able to control and quality test the videos that they were showing to the students. So for study 5, they gave a new group of students the ability to go on YouTube and pick any video they wanted and watch it for 10 minutes without interruption. After another unrelated task, the students were allowed to skip around YouTube all they wanted for 10 minutes. And once again, the students reported being more bored in the switching condition. So there you have it. Hopping from video to video or skimming within a video is just going to make you more bored. Well, not necessarily. In yet another study these researchers did, they expanded their test to an older and more diverse audience. In other words, not just undergraduates from the same university. This time, they found that the only time people reported being significantly less bored was when they were in the no switching condition first. If they were first allowed to skip around, they ended up being more bored in the later round when they couldn't skip around. This could mean one of two things. Either older adults from more diverse backgrounds can be primed to prefer either skipping around or being fully immersed in a video or some other task, depending on which one comes first, or people just run out of steam later in the testing day and they get more bored by whatever comes second. The researchers don't know which it is, and so future studies are going to have to figure that out, ideally by comparing boredom between subjects as opposed to between the same subject at different times. I actually really like this result. Yes, it makes things messier, but that's reality. So much psychological research has come out in the past few decades where everything comes out nice and tidy and in line with expectations. And then it turns out to have been cherry-picked or just outright fraudulent. Meanwhile, this study was pre-registered, so the researchers couldn't go back and try different techniques to get the result that they may have wanted. But yeah, this study does suggest that maybe for some people, their impulse to skip around to different media in order to cure their boredom is actually causing the opposite effect. But maybe not for everyone. Case in point, Dr. Mark points out in the podcast that I did eventually pause in order to finish writing the script. Everyone is different. If you sat me down and told me to work for 4 hours straight with absolutely no breaks, I would go batshit, get burnt out, and accomplish very little. Other people would probably benefit from that situation. If you make me work on my phone with all of the push notifications on, I would also go batshit, get distracted, and end up switching between TV tropes articles all day. But other people might like that mode of working. There are even differences within individuals. There are different hours of the day when I tend to be more productive, which actually matches what Dr. Mark says in that show, which tends to be mid-morning and mid-afternoon for most people. And if I'm really focused on something, really absorbed in my work, I could write for hours without noticing the time go by at all. So there are all these apps and stuff that will ping you every 30 minutes or something and be like, okay, it's time. You can take a break now. You have to work for half an hour, then you can take a break. That would actually be really distracting for me when I am operating at my best, when I'm super absorbed in my work. Research shows that our collective attention span has decreased significantly in the past 20 years or so. And that does seem to have a significant negative impact on our mental health. Every time you switch tasks, you're putting more stress on your brain to switch gears. When we multitask, which includes working on two things at the same time or a bunch of things in quick succession, research shows that we pay a mental penalty that ends up making us less efficient overall. And of course, you can see that when it comes to, for instance, high stakes things like driving. Driving while talking on the cell phone is very dangerous for that reason. Your brain has trouble making split-second decisions when it's focusing on two things at once. So yeah, it might be worth taking the time to try changing up the way you work and even the way you relax to see if you can get any benefits out of it. Like schedule some time when there are absolutely no screens around, not even a phone in your pocket. Put your phone down when you're watching a movie. It's a tough one for me. Or even, dare I say it, watch a YouTube video clear all the way to the end because, you might get a pleasant surprise. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. If you loved the video, please subscribe. And if you think the world could use more videos like this and you happen to have a few bucks laying around, head to patreon.com/Rebecca and join an awesome community of nerds like the people whose names you see on the screen right now. Thanks.